Dubbed a mecca by many conservationists, Olin Lake is the largest uninhabited lake preserve in the state of Indiana, at 200 acres of nature virtually untouched by humans. Its scent is that of freshness after a long summer storm. You hear the ancient trees rustle and the birds chirp uninterrupted by the trickle of endless water. This is solitude.
What's so neat about Olin Lake is it does give you a feeling of being alone when you're there. It's in the midst of a small farming community, but obviously most of the land is developed and devoted to crops, so there are not a lot of woods, but immediately around Olin it is all undeveloped woods, and it just kind of gives you the feeling of being a million miles from anywhere and miles and miles from the closest human being. I remember in the winter we used to go over to the island and walk across the ice, and we'd play like we were camping out. I don't think we ever slept over there overnight in the winter, and there were enough snakes around in the summer that I wasn't real fond of it in the summer. But its feeling of isolation and being alone is somewhat unique in Indiana anymore. I think probably in the upper peninsula of Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, there are areas where there's no development and it's really pretty devoid of people. But in Indiana, there aren't very many places like that left, and it's pretty special. One of my favorite experiences is in the winter time. There's nothing any neater than being on the ice over there. Usually fishing, but sometimes you just wander over. It's about a half-mile walk through the woods to get to the lake, half-mile from the nearest road. And in the winter you can get out there and watch the sun come up while you're fishing, and it's just like being, it's a surreal feeling. That it's like being in another planet where there's no one else sharing it with you.
The big question for most of the residents of Oliver Lake and Martin Lake, which is connected to Olin, was how long would this paradise last? With only part of the lake being owned by the state, the question was always, would someone come in and put a cottage in, and would it become populated? Well, when Mark and Myrna Peterman decided to donate 114 acres to the state of Indiana, ensured that the lake would remain a preserve for the future.
The reason probably that we decided to, we gave 114 acres of lake property to the state, and the reason for that was that it would protect Oliver Lake and Olin Lake and Martin Lake from probably being developed more than what it is now. And Myrna and I are both conservationists, and we love this area, and we didn't want to see it overpopulated by a bunch of people. And when we gave the land, which was very valuable land, we gave it to the state. Probably it completely preserved Olin Lake, so that no one could ever build there, and it completely preserved the other half of Martin Lake, so no one could build there. And we also made a stipulation. The state wanted to put in trails and so on for people to use, and I said no. I said, if you're going to do that, if we're going to preserve it, let's preserve it 100%, and that's what we've done. I don't think it makes an impact with the people that live on the lake or now, but I think it will in 50 or 100 years from now as lake property gets scarcer and scarcer and scarcer. That's the reason we did it.
I think there is such a thing as getting close to the earth and living close to the earth, and some of the things that are so important to many of us, like money, power, success, however you define it, they're somewhat immune to that type of thing, and I just think that the world is a much better place because of people like that, and in these days where all the headlines involve various forms of malevolence and greed, it's just refreshing to see people like that, and I wish these folks made the headlines as often as their counterparts on the other end of the spectrum. They're really great people. They feel honored that they've been able to enjoy the lake, and they would like to see their offspring and their those who follow have the same opportunity.
Humans have benefited from the preservation of Olin Lake, but so has the wildlife. The area, as you can imagine, hosts a variety of plants and animals like blue heron, white-tailed deer, black mink, red and black fox, brown and rainbow trout, and beautiful wildflowers like false mermaid, flax. It's really a place where you can see nature thriving.
It is quite a pristine environment around it. There's old growth forest, there's swampland, there are fens, there are bogs, there are a variety of different ecological niches over there.
Whether you're splashing in its beaches, exploring its island, or fishing in one of its coves, you can truly feel that this is a place that has remained untouched for over 200 years. Olin Lake is one of Indiana's finest gems.
Daydreamer, sitting on the sea, soaking up the sun.